time I met him was when we drafted him at the actual draft. And I remember that day well because I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I knew he was going to be a good player, but he had a great sense of humor. And I remember a lot of our season ticket holders came to the draft, and we said, look, there's going to be this party at 5 o'clock. And he got there at 4:45, and he positioned himself at the door, and he greeted everyone when they came in. And after everyone settled in, he started working the room. And we said, who is this guy that he's like a performer?
Unfortunately, the Caps and hockey fans around the world would have to wait to see this young talent play.
The NHL has canceled the remainder of the 2004-2005 NHL season.
If you want to know how I feel, I'll summarize it in one word. It's terrible.
A terrible day for Gary Bettman and a terrible day for hockey.
With labor disputes shutting down the NHL season, Alex would return to Russia and once again play for Dynamo.
Push up, pull in twice, straight out strong, and pull in. 6 times through the second one.
With an uncertain return of the NHL season, workout sessions for players trying to stay ready have become popular in different cities.
You guys know we presented this before, the Twist Hardest Worker for the week and then for the summer, and I'm really humbled by it, but once again I'm really pleased to accept this shirt. Hopefully it fits. I've already got about 8 of these shirts.
I mean, we all love the game. I love going to the rink. I love practicing. I love playing. But, I think that we have to do what's right for the players, and there's a lot of guys involved.
After 310 days, the NHL season would finally resume. But now the Caps hope their number 1 pick would show up for training camp in 2005. The Caps would arrange a conference call. On one line was the team's GM and one of his agents. On his second phone, Alex had a private line connecting him to the power behind the skater, his mom. Following a lengthy discussion, Alex was a Capital.
I told his mother and father, I promise you I'll treat Alex like he's my son. I'll only give him the right kind of advice. I'm not going to try to sell him on things. I believe that if I'm authentic with him, he'll trust me and we'll have a good relationship.
Eric would get his wish in 2003 and be drafted by the Carolina Hurricanes. But he had already visualized this day on the outdoor rinks in Thunder Bay or on the road in Peterborough because he has always been an NHL player.
You always dream about having your name called at an NHL draft, and for that to happen was great. I know my family, my billets, my friends there.
It was a pretty remarkable story. At the same time, we worked hard for it, and we're obviously happy for each other's success. He had a tough time his first year in junior and his first year in the NHL as well.
I went to I don't know how many games without scoring a goal my first year, and that was tough because you're used to scoring in junior, you're used to being the counted on guy.
At 22, only 3 years after he was drafted, he managed to help his team win the most coveted prize, the Stanley Cup.
I want to perform every night. I want to be the best player on the ice, no matter who I'm playing, no matter who I'm facing. And I'm very grateful and happy every step I took all the way through. I ended up to be where I'm at now, and hopefully it just keeps getting better in the future.
Now back in Washington, the team puts Alex through various tests.
Alex is a very self-actualized human being. He's very, very happy. During one interview this year, I don't know where he came, he said, "It's good to be me." And I think that sums it up.
Alex would waste no time bonding with his teammates, especially with Nicholas Backstrom.
He was driving Alex home, and I walked up to him and I said, "He's a great player, huh?" And he said, "He's a great player, but he's the greatest human being I've ever met."
Alex would end up signing the largest contract in NHL history, paying him $124 million for 13 years.
My conversations with Alex have been pretty straightforward. We need to rebuild our team. If you want to be historic, we have to win a Stanley Cup. Because if you don't, you'll always be the greatest player who never won the cup.
Alex has a desire to win, not only for himself, but his teammates.
I think he has a true passion and love for the sport of hockey that I haven't seen in a long, long time. It's fun to watch him play.
He's in the prime of his life. He's this more upside as a player. He's going to be a Washington Capital for a long, long time.
You have to realize you can do something, and you just have to do it, continue what you do. Why do you have to change something if it's working?
The Pittsburgh Penguins would draft Sidney in the 2005 draft, or what was popularly being referred to as the Crosby sweepstakes. This would ultimately put a different type of pressure on him, which would change his life on and off the ice forever.
I feel like my first 5 games was the first time in my life I was ever just happy to be somewhere. You know, I wanted to do well, but at the same time, I was just, on cloud 9. I was so happy to be there, and my first shift, I remember Brodeur stopped me and went back to the bench, and usually I'd be upset, and I was in a way, but at the same time I was like, I just got stopped by Brodeur, he's a great goalie, whatever.
Being touted as an NHL superstar would put a label on his back. At times, Sidney feels like the oldest 22-year-old in pro sports because of the good and the bad that comes with being one of the best.
There's times where, guys can say stuff and automatically I'm the one who has to answer, so, that's not always the greatest situation, but it's just one of those things you have to deal with, and whenever my name is brought up, I'm the one who has to answer the questions, and usually there's a tension around it, even if it's not brought upon by me, so.
We talk, I try to, talk like a father to him and pass on my advice or experience over the years.
That's half the fun of the ride, is just experiencing things and taking risks and, seeing where you end up, accepting new challenges and going through things. That's the experience of hockey, that's the experience of life, and no regrets, not at all.
Molson Canadian Boys to the Bigs is presented to you by Walmart. Save money, live better.
EA Sports, NHL 09, it's in the game.
And by Universal Pictures.